Yes.
Arnab, I think today is a very important day to understand that for the first time we've actually had in the legal profession a very young law intern making a very serious charge of sexual harassment against somebody who has held the position of a former Supreme Court judge. These are things that have been whispered about, have been spoken about in law offices. Women lawyers have talked about it, but very rarely has there been an opportunity to have a process through which this has become part of a national public debate. This is part of a struggle to create work environments everywhere, including within the legal profession, for women which are free and there is no sexual harassment over there. So let's focus on that. What have we been doing? And many people on different channels, including eminent lawyers, as well as somebody like the former Chief Justice of India and a former Lok Sabha Speaker, have all been saying due process is not followed, due process is not followed. What is due process under the law? Let's look at that. For purposes of sexual harassment, there are actually two avenues of the law that are available. You can go through the process that the law in turn has chosen to take, and the law allows you to take that option. There was actually, and there actually continues to be even today, no remedy available if there is a sexual harassment by a former or a sitting judge of the Supreme Court. When this issue came to light, the Chief Justice of India took the issue, formed a panel. The panel came to a prima facie finding. It was only after that that there was an articulation and a demand raised both by people within the legal profession as well as by women's groups outside that let's have this person should resign from the post because he's chairing a human rights commission. It must inspire the confidence of all the people, including women, who approach human rights commissions for vindication and for their rights to be respected. The process of presidential reference was begun, due process under the Protection of Human Rights Act, as written in a letter by the Additional Solicitor General. It goes to the Cabinet, the Cabinet clears it. Now the matter has gone back to the President of India. This is due process under the law. And I'm shocked that senior lawyers from the Supreme Court through the evening are saying he has been removed without due process. Where does the due process go thereafter?
Precisely.
A full-fledged inquiry conducted under the mandate of the Supreme Court by a judge nominated by the Supreme Court, where both parties appear, both are examined, both are cross-examined. The veracity of the allegation is checked, tested, and the truth is placed before us. That is due process. Justice Ganguly has chosen to step out and not participate in the due process as the due process was reaching a point where he would be required to appear. He can cross-examine, his lawyer can cross-examine the intern. There is no lynch mob happening here. There is a public debate. Issues of this kind, issues of sexual harassment at the workplace, particularly by people in very, very important, powerful, high offices, have to be articulated. There has been murmurs and women are moved away from those situations. It is high time that this was discussed and spoken about. None of us have ever used any language against Justice Ganguly or condemned him in any way. But yes, a person who is facing a charge like this cannot occupy the position of a chair of a Human Rights Commission. And I wish he had gone before the presidential reference, through the presidential reference, and had participated in the due process. Why has he run away from that process?
I just want to ask you, Subramanian Swamy, you realize the strength of that argument. And I just want to ask you in retrospect, do you regret some of the things which you've said?
Again.
Because I have a bone to pick with you.
Do you regret?
I have a bone to pick with you.
Do you regret being part of the lynch mob?
I have a bone to pick with you. Allow me.
You have forced a judge without an inquiry, without an investigation, to resign. Do you regret being part of the lynch mob? What a question you are asking me. I have stood by a principle. That principle will stand.
I remember.
I fought it in the emergency when you people were crawling before Mrs. Gandhi.
Okay, Indira Gandhi, please, don't make these sweeping comments about the media, because let me tell you,
well, you are all crawling in the media. I know that in the emergency.
No, please don't.
Yes.
Don't make these sweeping references.
What
Dr.
sweeping
Swami,
references?
because
I have seen it in emergency.
Unfortunately,
don't
all
teach me
the
democracy,
scams,
mister.
all the scams,
I was the one who fought the emergency.
all the scams,
don't forget that.
All the scams which have been exposed, which you want to put your patent and copyright over, have been exposed by the same media. But this is not about you and me, much as you want to make it.
Then why do you want to ask me a question?
About
why
you
do you
and
want
me?
to ask a leading
because
question?
Dr. Subramaniam Swami, Indira Jaising wants to respond to you. I have a bone to pick with you, but after Dr. Jaising, yes.
Do you regret for conducting this
function? I have no regrets about the coverage we have done on Justice Ganguly. I have zero regrets. Dr. Swami.
You've been wrong on so many things. What happened to Mr. Gadkari? Nothing. What happened to Srinivasan? You were defeated. He got unanimously elected. After that you went on the sulk.
Let me. You may be, you see, please, 1 second, you may be a great supporter of Mr. Srinivasan, you may have your own reasons for doing so.
Yeah, what about your reason? I want to know your reason.
You can't tell me what I'm supposed to do. My job is to ask the questions. And can I help it if those questions irritate you? Can I help it if those questions irritate you? Can I help it if I ask you why you character assassinate a young woman? Can I help it but to ask you that how can any powerful person, including a Supreme Court judge, get away by doing what he did? And just because he has powerful people like Subramaniam Swami to back him, just because he has powerful politicians and lawyers like Subramaniam Swami to back him, should he feel emboldened? Should the strength and power of Subramaniam Swami not be with that girl instead of being with that judge? Come on, Dr. Subramaniam Swami, please hear the other side. Please hear the other side. Indira Jaising gives you the other point of view. Indira Jaising.
Arnab, first and foremost, we are talking about a person who has occupied the position of a judge of the Supreme Court of India. I cannot understand how, in relation to such a person, we can use the word like forced him to resign. Nobody forced him to resign. He chose to resign. He had the option to resign or not resign. So where is the force coming from?
Okay.
I think, 1 minute, I think that's a question which only he can answer. So let him answer that question. Secondly, I don't think we should trivialize the issue in this manner. I was telling you earlier that for me this is an issue of national importance. The nation, the country, we are debating what are the norms with which a judge is supposed to interact, be it with an intern, be it with a lawyer, be it with a member of the staff. This is what is at stake over here. This is what is at stake over here. I have nothing personal to do with Justice Ganguly. If it was A judge, B judge, C judge, D judge, today it's Justice Ganguly, tomorrow it could be someone else. We need a system.
I know.
We need a system in place to address these issues. They are not going to be swept under the carpet, and just obviously, the media has a role to play here. I think these are issues which need to be debated within the nation as a whole.
There are. My last question. I have a bone to pick with you, Dr. Swami, which is actually about some comments that you have made, rather regrettably, on December 16th, 2013, when during the 27th minute of the Newshour debate, you, in response to Kavita Krishnan's comment on the victim, you said that Naxalite who believes in free sex cannot talk like this. I just want to ask you, before I conclude, and we have a political debate coming up next, whether today, in retrospect, you believe
Naxalites
that you made it too personal? No, 1 second. You made it too personal? You went too far. You tried to hit below the belt.
Ideology.
You tried to hit below the belt.
They don't believe in bourgeois morality. Don't you know that? You seem to be illiterate.
No.
Naxalites believe in rejecting bourgeois morality, which includes free sex.
First of all, I think you are making these vast unthought overgeneralizations about individuals and about ideologies.
I have to listen to your opinion on this. I have studied Marxist-Leninism in great depth.
I gave you an opportunity, Dr. Swami. I gave you an opportunity, Sir Vrinda Grover.
Bourgeois morality.
I gave you an
believe in bourgeois morality.
I gave you the opportunity. I feel that what you said on that debate was unfortunate.
Oh, yeah,
you don't think so? And Vrinda
your opinions are worthless as far as I am concerned.
That's all right, Dr.
Yeah, so don't
Swami,
give me your opinion.
You conduct the debate properly. Just two short points.
I would only remind you. I would only remind you.
You've been chasing people all through your program.
I would remind you, Dr. Swami.
You hound them.
Dr. Swami, I would remind you most humbly that today, much to your anger and possibly your great frustration,
I have no anger.
the Supreme Court dismissed two PILs, one of them seeking to restrain the government from proceeding against Ganguly and the other urging them to frame regulations for the conduct of retired judges.
I am asking for an inquiry and you're saying I am preventing.
I am sure you are frustrated about
why they are not registering an FIR.
Well, now Vrinda Grover has a final response on that particular point, or what you said. Vrinda Grover.
Yeah, just two short points. One, that what we need to understand is that if issues of sexual harassment at the workplace come out in the open, that proves to be a deterrent, both for those who may commit the offence as well as encourages others to come forward and make the complaint. Institutions, particularly like the judiciary, are extremely important in our democracy. That is where women always turn to for justice. These must inspire confidence. I think processes like this strengthen the institution of democracy, they strengthen Human Rights Commission, and they strengthen the faith of people in these institutions, and therefore it is important that we continue this kind of debate. And sexual harassment or any kind of maligning, throwing allegations at women is an old form used to harass, scare, hound women. I think women in India are much stronger and will be able to take this on and carry this forward.
Do you think Dr. Swami was trying to do that?
I think it's quite apparent what he has been doing on all these issues. I think we should on these. No, I'm not going to pass an opinion on what Mr. Swami is doing or isn't doing. I think it's quite apparent to everybody that when you don't have a substantive comment to make, then you indulge in things like this.
So, Dr. Swami, Vrinda Grover and Indira Jaising, we will close this part of the debate. Our political debate is coming up on the other side. Now, why Justice Ganguly has stepped down is something that even Subramaniam Swami is flummoxed with.
Maybe I am Subramaniam not flummoxed with. Don't put words in my mouth. I have defended the right for him to have a fair investigation.
You're angry about it.
And what is the question of flummoxed? I know why he stepped down.
You're upset about it. That's all right,
Dr. Swami. You chased him. You had a lynch mob running after him.
Well, fine, Dr. Swami. I thank you, and we are now going into our next story and our next debate. Thank you for joining me on debate number 1. Dr. Subramaniam Swami, please stay on. Yes.